Hey friends, happy Sunday and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I'm a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I share these What's for Dinner videos every Sunday to hopefully give you some new meal ideas and motivate you to cook more for your family. Any recipes that I mention are always going to be linked in the description box, and I've been doing this for 5 years now, so I also have a playlist link down below where you can go back and see every video from every week for the past 5 years because I've barely missed any week, so there's a ton of videos for y'all to check out. But I'm going to go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night, I tried a new recipe for a bacon tortellini Alfredo. This was pretty quick and easy to put together. So I'm starting off here with 6 strips of bacon that I have sliced into small pieces. I actually cut them with my kitchen shears, and I'm just gonna cook that until it's nice and crispy. And I thought I filmed another clip where I was bringing a pot of salted water to a boil to cook my tortellini. I had 2 9-ounce packages of like the tortellini, not the refrigerated kind, the kind that's just like dried tortellini like on the shelf, and I cooked that according to the package directions. Now when my bacon was done, I removed it from the pan, and then I also removed all of the grease from the pan except for about a tablespoon or 2, and then to that I'm going to add in some minced garlic, 1/4 cup of chicken broth, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and 4 ounces of cream cheese. I did whipped cream cheese because I just had that on hand, and I find that it melts really easily into like sauces. So I did that, and then I used a whisk and kind of whisked that all together and let that sit on like a medium heat for about 5 minutes. It's going to start to like thicken up and reduce down, and I just kept whisking it so I could get a smooth sauce. And then after about 5 minutes, I stirred in some Parmesan cheese and some pepper, and then I tasted it to see if I needed to add any salt, and it was salty enough, so I didn't add any salt. And then I also added in my bacon. Once I had that all combined, the cheese all melted, I added that to my drained tortellini, and when I drained the tortellini, I actually reserved a cup of the pasta water so that I could thin my sauce if I wanted it to be a little bit thinner. You can leave it thick if you want, but I just used a little bit of pasta sauce to kind of thin that sauce. And then to go with this, we just had a salad or some fresh veggies, and this was delicious. And as I said, it was really quick to come together. It took like no time at all, like less than 30 minutes, probably about 30 minutes actually. You include like cutting up the bacon and cooking the bacon and all that and bringing the water to a boil. Dinner was ready in probably start to finish 30 minutes. Saturday night we had some chicken club sandwiches. This is inspired by a copycat Chick-fil-A recipe that I saw on Pinterest, but I did not follow that recipe at all because it had you like tenderizing the meat in like buttermilk and pickle juice, and I just didn't feel like doing all that, so I did not do that. But here I have 2 chicken breasts that I have sliced in half horizontally so that they're nice and thin and will cook fast, and they'll be nice and thin for sandwiches. And I'm seasoning them on both sides with some Tony's Creole seasoning and some Badia Complete. And then I'm going to get them cooking in my cast iron pan. I have heated up a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of butter. And then I will cook these on each side for about 5 minutes, get a nice good sear on them. And then after the whole total of 10 minutes, if they're still not done, then I will put a lid on this and turn the heat down to medium low and let them continue to cook until they reach the correct internal temperature. I have a digital thermometer that I use to check that. And then to go with this, we had some waffle fries that I found at Aldi. And for our sandwiches, we topped it with some cheese and some bacon and lettuce, tomato, and mayo. And they were great. They were nice and tender because the chicken was so thin. But in the future, I do want to try like the copycat Chick-fil-A recipe and like tenderize the meat so it'll be even more tender, like with the pickle juice and the buttermilk, but I just did not feel like doing that today. Sunday was Easter, and typically whenever I cook like big meals, we always do dinner, but I switched it up this year and we did a late lunch around like 2:30. We had lunch with family, and I completely forgot to show y'all the whole spread until it was entirely too late and I was ready to clean everything up, and I did not film the whole spread. But we had leftovers for dinner, so the kids and I had some ham and cheese and some leftover rolls. We had some macaroni salad, leftover fruit, and some deviled eggs. There was also potato salad and green bean casserole. I think Andy, he ate a little bit later than me and the kids. I think he just had leftover green bean casserole and ham, because like after all the rest of the family leaves, the only person in our house who likes green bean casserole is him. So he's responsible for eating all of the leftovers of that. But that was our dinner for Easter. Monday night we had these smothered Frito bowls. This was a new recipe that we were trying. And if you saw the vlog that I put up the other day, then you have already seen this recipe. But it was our dinner, so I'm sharing it again here in the What's for Dinner. Started off by just browning 1 pound of ground beef with half of an onion that I diced up. And then once my meat was all brown and my onions were a little tender, you could drain off any excess grease if you have a lot, but this is some pretty lean meat, so I didn't have a lot to drain off. But I added a bunch of taco seasoning and then probably about half a cup of water, and I let that simmer over medium-low heat for probably about 5 minutes until that water was mostly like evaporated and reduced down. Then I transferred that meat mixture to my crock pot and I added 1 can of Rotel undrained, 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and 2 cans of chili seasoned beans. And then I just mixed that together really well and put a lid on it and cooked this on low for like 5 to 6 hours. It honestly doesn't need a long time. Nothing's raw in this, but like with the chili flavors, like the longer you cook it, the more like the flavor like just like comes out, and it's like delicious. And it was even better the next day. You know how chilies get, they're great like reheated. So when we came home, all I had to do was stir this up and then get the toppings ready. We're gonna eat this on top of Fritos and then top it with some cheese, whatever you would put like on a taco, lettuce, cilantro, sour cream, some salsa, all the things. And it was delicious. And then if you saw the vlog, you know I mentioned that Andy and I had leftovers of this with Doritos instead of Fritos. And it was so good. You know, it's basically a walking taco with the Fritos, but some people do that with Doritos. And it's so much better with Doritos. Both are really good, but the Doritos, who doesn't love extra cheese? I mean, honestly, that's what you're doing. So yeah, definitely recommend that recipe. Definitely will be another one that I make in the crock pot because I love quick and easy crock pot recipes like that. Monday night we had this like steak and gravy over egg noodles. So it was like 4 o'clock and I realized I had not taken anything out for dinner and I needed to thaw something out or cook something from frozen. So I did these like beef tips steak like stew meat in the Instant Pot, practically from frozen, because I started cooking it at 6 and I hadn't pulled it out until 4, and so it was pretty much just a frozen hunk of stew meat. So I'm starting off with 2 cups of water here, and to that I'm adding 2 teaspoons of beef bouillon, dissolving that in the warm water, and then I'm adding 2 packets of beef gravy and dissolving that. Then in my Instant Pot I have my frozen hunk of stew meat, and I'm just going to pour that mixture over top, and then I cooked this for 25 minutes on just manual high pressure, and then I did a quick release the steam, and it was pretty much cooked most of the way through. And I just wanted to make sure my stew meat was like down in the gravy, and then I added a packet of au jus to kind of thicken it up a little bit more, and I seasoned it with some garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper. And then I cooked this for an additional 20 minutes manual high pressure, and then let it do a natural release for 10 minutes, and then I released the rest of the pressure, and then it was done. I stirred it up. It looked great. Everything was cooked through and nice and tender, and I just made some egg noodles to serve this over, and we had some leftover carrots from Easter that we had on the side of it. This came together pretty fast. I mean, it's time consuming cooking in the Instant Pot, but the fact that I didn't have my meat thawed out and I had this on the table in probably about an hour. I started at 6 and I think we were eating by like 7:10. So that's not bad for your meat being frozen, I feel like. So not super quick, but not a lot of like hands-on stuff. It's just like cooking over there in the Instant Pot while you can go do other stuff. Wednesday night we had some copycat Panda Express chow mein and then just some mandarin orange chicken from Trader Joe's. So I have these fresh chow mein noodles I picked up a couple weeks back at the Asian market when we went, and I really wanted to give them a try to make this copycat chow mein recipe. I've tried a different recipe in the past, but the noodles that I used at the time I just didn't love. So I'm trying it again, and for this recipe, I'm starting off by mixing together 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, and 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And that's going to be our sauce later for the noodles. Now, in my frying pan, I am putting in 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of peanut oil or whatever like stir fry oil you want to use. I happen to have peanut oil from when we fried a turkey. We had some leftover oil that we didn't use. And then also 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And then I let that get hot. And then to that, I'm going to add in some chopped garlic, some black pepper, some green onion, and then my cabbage. And it says to use 12 ounces of Napa cabbage sliced. I didn't feel like slicing my own cabbage, so I'm actually using cabbage from a coleslaw mix. So there's also like some carrots in there. And I'm just going to fry that for like 5 minutes. It says until it's crisp tender. I don't exactly understand what that means. I just fried it until it looked like we would eat it, because we would not eat it raw and like super crunchy. So I just got it to where I thought my family would enjoy it. And then I'm going to add in my noodles, my chow mein. The original recipe that I'm following says to like cook your noodles according to the package directions. But mine said they only needed to cook for like 2 to 3 minutes in a little bit of water, like a very little bit of water. So what I did was I didn't cook them. I just dumped them right into the cabbage when I thought the cabbage was ready. And then I added in that sauce that we whisked together. And then I also did probably about half a cup of water, which wasn't originally called for. But I just did that so my noodles could get nice and tender. And yeah, I only let that sit for like 4 minutes and everything was done. And we served this on the side of the Trader Joe's orange chicken, and it was delicious. Everybody loved it. Lily did say that Panda noodles are better, and I agree. We like the noodles from Panda or like from our favorite Chinese place better, but these were pretty good for a quick at-home chow mein. And finally, Thursday night, we had another crock pot recipe. I knew we were going to be gone most of the day. I went grocery shopping, and then I came home, and we went and saw the Super Mario Brothers movie, and then we went out to lunch. That was like our little celebration for Andy's birthday. We loved the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was great. And if you have kids or you like Mario, definitely recommend seeing it. But because we were going to be doing all that, I wanted to make sure that we had dinner in the crock pot so we would not be tempted to eat out again for dinner. So I just added 2 chicken breasts to my crock pot, and then I'm doing half of a jar of the Trader Joe's Salsa Verde and then half of a jar of their corn salsa. It's called like tomato-less salsa, and then a little bit of salt and some red pepper flakes, and that is it. Put it in there, and then I let this cook on low for like 6 to 8 hours, and then at the end all you have to do is shred it up, and you can eat this however you want. The recipe said that they recommended eating it over like rice because it is like a little liquidy. You'd have to like drain it if you wanted to make tacos or something with it, or you'd have like soggy tacos. So I just made some cilantro lime rice. We had the chicken on top with some cheese, some pico or some more salsa verde, and then some sour cream. And this was delicious. We made burritos with the leftovers. Those were great as well. I had never tried this recipe before. It came from Naptime Kitchen, and I had never tried that corn salsa, but we really did like it in this, and then I ate some because I still have half of a jar, like on some chips, and it's really good. I knew that I loved their salsa verde, but now I also love their corn salsa. But that is going to do it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. If you got any new ideas for some meals to try, let me know which ones down below. I hope that y'all have a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!